Hello guys, my name is Anna and I'm a Ukrainian, and I have decided I will vlog daily from my country Ukraine since the start of this awful war with Russia. And in my daily videos I try to update you on the important real life situations in my country Ukraine, and of course I'm always glad to answer your questions and to clarify some facts from our history, culture, or whatever interests you. But sometimes I do touch international topics, as I do believe this war is global, same as the support and dangers of this war. And today the whole world discussed the resignation of Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, and I can honestly tell you that the majority of Ukrainians are very much disappointed with this information and this news. And we are really worried about the future support of the United Kingdom to Ukraine. I do understand and I value the messages that you leave in comments that the support is truly the support of people. And I definitely understand that politicians, they are just like the representatives of the people. And it is the hearts and souls of the people that we have to fight for. But at the same time, Boris Johnson was the symbol of support to Ukraine. He was among the first to speak about the danger and Russian war in Ukraine, naming it not a conflict, not a misunderstanding, but calling it a war. And when many still had doubts whether Ukraine will stand during this period, Boris Johnson came to Kyiv when it was not so fashionable about the others. And of course, many of his messages, and Britain has a really strong voice in the international politics, many of his messages were very important to make others believe that Ukraine can succeed, that Ukraine can stand during this war, and that we can take back our territories, get our independence back, and continue building our European future. I do know that all politicians are not ideal people. Believe me, I can tell you lots of stories about Ukrainian politicians. I can tell you, I believe there are lots of things about Boris Johnson that many people won't like, that were wrong. But for me as a Ukrainian, he is a symbol of strength and support. And this not kind of support, we'll see how it works out. But just when a person speaks and 100% you can trust this person. And during hard times, this is very and very important. I want to tell you about my acquaintance with Boris Johnson as a Ukrainian, but before the war. I have read 2 of his books and I'm going to show you them in Ukrainian translations. The first one is The Factor of Churchill and The Dream of Rome. I'm a huge fan of Roman society and I'm a huge fan of Churchill. So when I was reading these books, I definitely liked the style of Boris Johnson, the style of his writing. I had lots of quotes underlined because I'm a person who underlines and spoils the books, but I never give away the books that are important for me. And I remember reading him and I felt jealous for people of the United Kingdom, because you have a prime minister, you had a prime minister that wrote so good. Never in Ukrainian history we had a prime minister who could write so good. And you had Winston Churchill, who actually won the Nobel Prize for Literature, and now Boris Johnson, who is truly talented, both in his style, in the stories that he picks for his books, and many other examples. And I do believe that the way you write, the way you speak tells a lot actually about the way you think. So for me, I was 100% convinced that he is not a dumb person, he is not a coward, because you can see it from his texts. And definitely he has a weird style, starting from his hair and finishing with his non-verbal behavior. But when I observe him at the international meetings and talking, for example, together with Trudeau, I can tell you that I'm 100% sure that Boris Johnson will do what he says, and with others I do have this doubt. By the way, during this time of his support, he was extremely popular in Ukrainian newspapers, and I hope he will continue being popular, because he is definitely a character. He may be wrong in some things, but he is a character, he is a personality. And modern politics, I'm convinced, modern politics lacks personalities. Modern life lacks personalities. People often choose to be like to keep low profiles, to be neutral as long as they can, not to take responsibilities, not to get risky. And he can do that. And for us, people at war, these are extremely important qualities. So I want to tell you thank you for Boris Johnson, because he is definitely the product of the culture and traditions and values of the British society. Please forgive me those who don't like him, because I am not into British politics yet. And I am sure there are some arguments that make you believe he's not ideal for his position right now. And also, I do think that such traits like being very active, being very energetic, are also important. And I do believe when he became popular and he appeared in our newspapers, that's what I wanted to tell you. There were lots of memes about him and Macron. You know that Macron is like a funny character here, because he constantly talks to Putin, and we have this like a very popular American word, I guess, language word, someone is a crash. I personally don't like it, but Boris Johnson was described as a crash of all Ukrainian people, and Macron as anti-crash. But one meme that I personally liked and I personally shared, that like you have two type of guys. One calls you constantly, speaks for hours and does nothing, and that is Macron. And another one flies thousands of kilometers just to have a coffee with you and walk down the Khreshchatyk street. And definitely this is something that speaks a lot about Boris Johnson's attitude to Ukraine in these dark times. I do understand that perhaps this is the historical role of Britain. It was very much important during the Second World War, and I believe that the strength and bravery of the British people, who demonstrated their strength when other countries fell under Nazi's regime, is the continuation of your support of Ukraine in this totally unjust war. This is a very exemplary war where we have black and white, evil and good. And the fact that being so far away from us, you support us, you spend money, time, effort, attention, is extremely valuable. And Boris Johnson's support during these first days and months, when so many people were in doubt and just observing what will happen to these Ukrainians, was definitely something we will remember forever. So even if you're not fans of Boris Johnson, please forgive that we are, and that will stay perhaps for decades. But in general, I want to thank the people of the United Kingdom for their strength, for their bravery, for Churchill and Johnson, and for many other beautiful citizens who send me pictures of Ukrainian flags, who put these flags in your houses, who accept Ukrainian refugees, who spend money, or at least who are not angry at the world and politicians for their support, and some prices that are rising, inflation and so on. Because what happens right now in Ukraine is a real tragedy, and the support is needed, because this is not finishing. We are in the process, and Russia has lots of people, Russia has lots of weapons, and they don't care about people at all. They don't care about the numbers of victims, of civilians, even of their own soldiers. That's why the world needs to stay united and to support Ukraine in this fight, as we need to win this global and dangerous Russian regime. And I am disappointed, because in the news I see lots of messages that Russia is definitely very happy about the resignation of Boris Johnson. And definitely, I still believe a small percentage of this public opinion was influenced by Russians, because they believe that this level of support will be lost. I hope this level of support will stay, and the future Prime Minister of Great Britain will continue to support Ukraine. And very often we say that Ukraine and Britain has many things in common, that we are the Britain of the Slavic world, and our only problem is that we are not on the islands. separated by the seas, but somewhere between the Mongolian society of Russia and the civilized West. But hopefully we will finally join the West and will be able to stand against evil together. Also, I'm very grateful for 5,000 subscribers. When I have started this vlog, never have I believed we will reach the number. I do understand this is not something huge in terms of YouTube, but this is huge in terms of how quality people, if you can say it that way, I have in my channel. And I love reading our conversations, your advice, the emails that you send me, and definitely I'm grateful for your support, but definitely it is not about just coffees or patronizing me. It's about standing with Ukraine, telling me your stories, connecting people, and understanding that this war is global. Thank you once again. Slava Ukraini!